Welcome to Wrenches with Rock, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Jason. Today we are going to be doing a valve cover gasket job on a 2002 Chevy Suburban. Right now I am just attaching a bungee strap around my main harness line here to hold it up and out of the way to give me some room to work. I know a lot of people out there will have negative things to say about this, but it's just the way that I've done it and always do it, and I've never had an issue. There is a little clip down there in between the two first ignition coils that holds that main harness where it should be, and you have to pop that clip to move the harness out of the way, but it is pretty simple to do. Not sure what I'm off doing right now in this section of the video. I would hope it is grabbing some tools, but not 100% sure. Okay, here we go. I'm back. So the first thing that I'm going to do is probably grab the camera here. Take you down the close up. Alright. I'm going to take these spark plug wires off of the ignition coils here. So you want to be very careful because those ignition coils can become brittle over time and crack and break if you pull on them or tug on them in the wrong way. So you just want to grab these spark plug wires at the bottom and give them a good jiggle and tug and pop those fuckers out of there. Now that we got that done, I'm going to remove this blue security clip on the ignition coil wiring harness tray. You're just going to want to lift this tab up here and wiggle the top of the plug out. It's hard for me to get a good angle of me doing this, holding the camera / phone and trying to do this is kind of a challenge. So I just wiggled it out of there. Next thing I'm going to do is remove these 5 10mm studs that are holding my ignition coil tray to the valve cover. 5 of them. You're going to need a deep well 10mm socket and a ratchet. I'm going to use my Milwaukee cordless electric ratchet here to take these guys out. I love that thing. It's great for speed and saving time. It does a great job. I've had a couple of them. I've broken a couple of them. I've had a snap-on one as well. I broke that. So, you just got to find whatever you're comfortable with. But I like this Milwaukee right here. So I'm just going to take these 5 studs out. There's one right there. That's my first stud. Doing the passenger side, getting that back last stud out of there is a pain in the butt. Anybody that has to do this job will come to the same conclusion, I'm sure. For speed purposes and don't be like me right here. I butcher this terribly bad. I forgot about this other harness clip on here holding this smaller part of the harness to the tray. This guy right here, and I'm about to butcher even more while trying to hold the camera and film this, and it just doesn't pan out at all. I'm going to butcher that pretty badly right now. Don't be like me. You're going to want to undo this before you remove this tray just to make your life a little bit easier. Again, you don't want to be like me. Don't be like me. In a second here, I'm about to do something even crazier, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to go find some tools to assist me in butchering this with one hand even further versus just putting my camera down and doing it two-handed. But then not only does the madness not stop there, I put the camera up and continue to butcher it with two hands, and you guys get to watch that right here. Oh yeah, look at me. Butchering it with a flathead and a pick. Alright, so now that I got that thing out of the way, that's going to expose my 8mm valve cover bolts. You're going to want to be very careful here and take these out by hand and by hand only. The possibility that you will strip them is very real. So you're just going to want to be very careful. Alright, once you've busted them loose, you can use a power tool or air tool here to take them the rest of the way out. You just want to make sure that there's no resistance on them, and then they come out nice and easy. So at one point or another, you're going to want to pull this breather tube off of the back of the valve cover here. You can pull it forward like I did and then just grab it, or you can climb up in there and reach behind there before you pull it off. However you want to do it is up to you. That hose is rubber, probably not going to damage it. These gaskets just get old over time and harden, and they become brittle and they'll crack, and so it causes all kinds of leaky problems. Most of the time it'll leak down the back of the block, down to the oil pan, and just be a mess. So here I'm getting ready to clean these things. Nothing fancy here. I have to get up and walk away for a second, so this is pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to pull the gasket out of the journal, and I'm going to grab me some brake cleaner, and I'm going to clean these valve covers off. If you would like to paint them, now would be a good time, but you're going to have to make sure they're extremely clean before you paint them. Otherwise, you just want to get them better than what they were. Clean out any sludge on the inside. Clean is good. So just take some time, get them decently clean. I'm not telling you that every part of them got to shine, because mine don't, but you know, clean them up a little bit. Leave it in better condition than when you found it. Here we go. Brake cleaner. Alright. I guess I'm clearing up a spot on my workbench over there for me where I can possibly show you the next step. I guess we'll just sit right here together until we find out. Feel free to fast forward a little bit. This one's on you guys. Alright, here we go. Bam, there's my work table. Cart, table, whatever you might want to call it. Custom built. Bam, there's my gaskets. Bam, there's my trash can. Bam, there's me giving you a smart ass look. Okay. So you're going to have the top and the bottom of this. One side goes in the valve cover. It'll be skinny and have notches and look like this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Little tiny notches in it. That's going to go in the valve cover. The fat, thick end is going to go on the bottom of the valve cover, and that is going to make the seal in between the valve cover and the engine cylinder head. So you're just going to put it in that journal, work it on around in there. I'm going to mess up right here. Mine came out, but you just got to put it back in there. Make sure it's snug. Some people will put grease on some spots to hold it in there. Make sure that it don't fall out when you're installing it. But I'm not going to do that. From my experience, they stay in there fairly well. I don't typically have issues with them falling off of the valve cover when you flip them upside down. So I'm just going to push all that down and make sure it's all in there right. Come over here and I'm going to show you. Hey, look, there you go. See, viewers, how about that? Okay, very nice. Sitting in there, very nice. Now I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to grab my valve cover bolts, and I'm just going to pull my old grommets off of them. They should pull right off. So here is a shitty close-up of me doing it. I apologize for being a terrible cameraman. But I'm doing this all on the phone. I need to get some new equipment. So if you guys would like to support me, feel free to send me money and shit. I mean, I don't know, or some cameras or whatever you want. But, you know, down to make these videos. So you're just going to yank these grommets off of the valve cover bolts. Like so. Got 4 of them here. Gonna find something to wipe my greasy paws on. Hopefully it's a rag. Look at there. Alright, here are my new grommets. Everybody got a different way of doing this. My buddy Paul straight up manhandled one time. I don't know how, but he did. So I'm gonna grab a socket. I'm gonna flip it over upside down so the small end is in the socket. I am gonna grab my heat gun. Anybody who works at the any of the GM dealers, y'all should make a video on exactly how you guys do this. Here I am. back with my trusty dusty heat gun. 2-stage, high and low. Black & Decker. Oh, okay. Get the focus here a little bit. Got it nice and heated up, and I'm about to try to manhandle it in here and fail. Oh, foolishness. So now I'm going to get Thor style and flip it over. And I don't get Thor style yet, excuse me. First, I'm just going to flip it over and try to press it. Then I'm going to fail and Thor it with some inertia. Well, bam. Hey, look at that. Didn't tear it or nothing. A little bit of inertia. Just slid right on there. So we're going to go down the line and do the other 3. Probably 3 different ways, knowing me. So here we go. I'm going to move my work table a little bit closer to the wall outlet so my cord on my Black & Decker heat gun will reach the table and I don't have to drop it on the floor again this time. Drop that out of there, put it on there, slide my socket over it, and give it a couple hits. And it looks like I have successfully put a grommet on it. So we're batting 2 for 2 right now. Gotta see if we can hit 3 for a 3. I don't remember what I'm doing, but I'm going to venture to say that I'm going to go get grease for this one. So this is going to be, count them, folks, my 3rd different way of doing it. I don't know. I might have greased the original too, but I can't remember. Oh, look at that. Some Lucas bread and tacky right there. And we're looking for somewhere to wipe our greasy finger. Who knows? Oh, look at there. We found something. Back to the heat gun. Gonna get that thing nice and hot. And now, I'm gonna bust out the rubber mallet. And I'm gonna give this thing a 1-2 piece. Bam! Boom! Shaka laka. So now we're gonna go on to number 4. Success. So we've knocked out all 4 of those. Now we're going to hang this camera back up here. Okay. Yeah. And we are going to start the reinstall process, which is fantastic because I'm getting tired and I'm ready to go to bed. So my ass is to hurry up and put this shit back together. So you want to be careful here not to knock your gasket off of the valve cover. Lining up these lining up these bolts is a pain in the butt. Anyone that's done this before would tell you the same thing. Anyone that does it all the time will probably tell you the same damn thing. It's a pain in the butt. You just gotta wiggle them around till you find the thread bore, and then you can start turning them in. But you can miss the plate that the threads are in, missing entirely, and then you'll be wiggling around down there and nothing. So you gotta take you a good couple seconds to really play with them to get them in there. Sometimes they line right up. Sometimes you miss the thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of mine in. I'm getting ready to break another cardinal rule here. I'm gonna hand tighten all these. And then I believe I drive them in with my Milwaukee. I know, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person. Please, let me live for the rest of the evening. Let me at least get a good 7 hours of sleep before you guys slay me. Where did I go? Oh, there I am. Alright. Twist these things down with my 8mm. You should tighten them from the 2 inside to the 2 outside. There's not a particular sequence like you would see on a dual cam vehicle or something like that. So you just want to make sure that you tighten from the inside out and then check them all when you're done. It's not a whole lot of torque. I can't remember how many Newton meters, but I think it's like 100 and something inch pounds. If I'm wrong, excuse me. And to be honest with you, I tighten them by hand. I just tighten them down my hand. I mean, they're 8 mils. You'll be all right. You know, you don't want to over tighten them at all. So you just want to feel them until they're snug. It can be tricky too because you got all new rubber in there. It's going to be a little bit more pliable and it's going to compress under the tension. So it could be tricky feeling them out, but you just got to go slow. Go one by one. When it starts to get a little snug, go to the next one and the next one and the next one, and then do the whole thing over and over and over again until they're tight. Not sure what I'm doing right here, but we are only a few minutes from completion here. So I'm very excited, ladies and gentlemen. It's about 11:57 p.m. my time. All right, I'm back. I went away again. Alright, so here's the cardinal rule number 2 that I broke using my Milwaukee. And I'm going to repeat this 100 times. Lightly. Lightly. You know, I'm not pulling on the trigger hard. I'm just lightly turning them things down in there. Lightly. I probably only did it on that back one. It looks like I only did it on that back one. Just because of how far away it was from my body and how uncomfortable of a position it would have been to be in. So, I hand tighten them now with my 3/8. You don't want to hurt these. You don't want to mess up here. So just take it slow. You are in no hurry. All this money you're going to be saving doing this do-it-yourself, I believe me, you are in no fucking hurry. So, take your time, folks. And here we go. Now I'm going to grab my ignition coil tray and my 5 10mm studs that I put in a safe place from earlier. Bam. Beautiful tray. Beautiful, beautiful tray. We are going to insert it in that type of motion that I just showed you. Now I'm going to get my tray to hang here, and my tray is also going to fall here. I think it's going to give me enough time to get one bolt in there up front, and then the back side is just going to slip off. And there we go. Now I'm going to get this one stud started, and I'm going to get this second stud started. I'm going to put all 5 of these 10mm studs back up in this thing. And we're going to drive them things home with my Milwaukee 3/8 cordless ratchet. I think it'd be cool for them to make a corded ratchet. And at that point, you might as well have air, huh? My batteries don't ever really die anyway. Alright, so I just reconnected my connector here and put my blue safety pin back through it. To put it back together, you just push the top part of the connector into the bottom, push the tab down, then you're going to slide that blue clip back through like you took it out. Now I'm just going to put all of my spark plug wires back on my ignition coils, wiggle them and jiggle them. I have to climb up here to get my 4th one. I know I didn't do it in this video, but it is a good idea to use a little Duralect grease when putting those back on, so whenever you go to take them off again, it's a lot easier. Now I'm going to unhook my bungee cord, put my harness back down, and then that's it. That's the job well done. Move on to the next side if you have not already done it. Thanks for watching. Hope it helps somebody. Take care.